Hello everybody, and welcome back to another new video. It's me, Will, and this year marks 50 years since the formation of one of the greatest bands of all time, of course, the Ramones. And if you watch my videos, you know I'm a huge fan of the Ramones, big collector as well. So I was inspired by that anniversary to show you my entire collection of the Ramones. And it's actually 50 years since the formation of the Ramones as a band, not necessarily since the first record came out, because that one will come out a couple of years after, in 1976. But anyways, I'm going to show you my entire collection. And before getting started, I wanted to say that my collection is for sure incomplete. There's several releases that I don't have from the band. For a while, I was, I guess, considered a Ramones completist, where I was trying to get everything in my collection, all the singles, the 45s, the compilations, everything I was trying to get into my collection. But I had to slow down a little bit because there's just so much stuff from the Ramones out there, and a lot of those records are a little bit expensive, so my collection is definitely incomplete. But I know a lot of people out there in the VC that are also big Ramones collectors that definitely have bigger and much better collections of the Ramones out there. So I encourage everybody out there in the VC to show your Ramones collections for the 50th anniversary of the Ramones forming as a band. But yeah, let's go ahead and check it out. Let's check out my collection. And I'm going to try to go in chronological order, which is going to be a little bit difficult because there's so much stuff that was, some older material that was re-released later on. So I'm going to try to go in the order of the records as they were released. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Of course, with the classic debut album, the self-titled Ramones from 1976 on Sire Records. This is actually one out of the two Ramones studio albums which I don't own a standard or a regular vinyl copy of the record. For some reason, this one was a little bit difficult to find for me. I was always looking for at least an early repress or an original press on really good condition. I could never find one until they released this box set in 2016 for the 20th anniversary or the 40th anniversary of the record. This is the 40th anniversary deluxe edition box set from Sire Records. And you'll see a few of these re-releases for the 40th anniversary on box set shown in this later in this video. Comes with one vinyl record on black vinyl and 3 CDs, and also a really nice booklet with a lot of text showing the history of the recording of this record. Rhino does a fantastic job, or sorry, Sire does a fantastic job at pressing these box sets of the older Ramones records. Highly recommended. Interesting that they went with the mono mix of the record in the LP and the vinyl of the box set, because famously this record, the original mix came in with guitars on one channel and bass in the other channel, so you get this very clear separation of the instruments from one side, one channel to the other. In this one they did something different, where they did the mono mix in the LP, and you also get the standard standard remix of the original record on the CD. And I also have this copy on CD. This is a repress that came out in 2001. This is probably one of the first Ramones releases that I ever got with my own money. Probably the first one, because I remember buying this one when it came out. And it comes with a lot of extra tracks. It came out in 2001 again, with demo songs on the CD and the Sire labels. Next record, second album from the Ramones. Of course, the also classic, and all the first few Ramones records are classic by now. But this one is called Leave Home. And this one came out in 1977, also on Sire Records. I got this one somewhere in Europe. When I was traveling in Europe, I got a lot of these Ramones records, which for some reason they were a little bit easier to find in Europe than they are here in the US. So this one came out on the Philips label. And I checked on Discogs. I made sure that it wasn't a bootleg or anything, because I bought it from a legit record store. And this one is an interesting release because it does include the song Carbona Not Glue in side A of the record, which was edited out in some of the early versions or the early presses of the US version of the record. And so I don't think this is an original press from Europe, but I think it's an early repress from the Netherlands, and it came in with this Philips label on black vinyl. 40th anniversary deluxe box set that came out in 2017, also on Sire Records. Leave Home, you get the full record, I guess the remix of the album, which is very similar to the original. This time they didn't play around with the mix too much. You get the booklet and the 3 CDs. Similar story here on this one. And as far as the bonus materials, you get the Sound Dragon rough mixes, which will eventually come out also on Record Store Day, which I'll show you later. And live record, live at CBGB, which was previously unissued, right here on the CD. I don't think that one has come out on Record Store Day, but I could be wrong. I definitely don't have a copy of that one on vinyl. This is by far my favorite Ramones record. A perfect record in my opinion, and perhaps one of my favorite records of all time, Rocket to Russia. This one came out in 1970s, also 1977, same year as Leave Home, also on Sire Records. This is a US version of the record. I bought it at the record store many years ago. And again, I don't know if it's an original press or not. For me, it's really difficult to find on Discogs because all of them look very similar, but it could be an early repress because I don't think I paid too much for this one when I got it. But it does come in with a nice inner sleeve with the cool drawings of the cartoons of for each of the songs. But yeah, perfect record in my opinion, Rocket to Russia. Love the artwork here for that era of the Ramones. And this one came in on black vinyl with the standard Sire labels. But yeah, absolutely love this record from start to finish. All the songs are perfect in my opinion, from Cretin Hop, probably one of the best opening tracks of all time. Rockaway Beach, my favorite Ramones song of all time. Here Today, Gone Tomorrow, Locket Love, I Don't Care, She Knows a Punk Rocker. Holy crap, this record is just so good. And of course, I also have the 40th anniversary box set of that record, Rocket to Russia, that came out for the 40th anniversary, so in 2017 on Sire Records. Very similar to the other two from the first couple of records. You have the one LP on vinyl, the booklet, and 3 CDs with all the extra stuff. And by the way, all these box sets are individually numbered. I'm not sure how many copies they made, but I have copy 6090 of this box with 10 ahead of the 6. So they probably did at least 10,000, I would say, of this box set. So I'm sure you can still find some out there in the wild. But again, fantastic box set. You get in the LP you get the remastered original mix plus the 40th anniversary tracking mix of the record, which to my ears, they both sound very similar. And you get all the extra materials, the unreleased stuff, the demos, and all the other songs. And of course, you have to get the Ramones playing live in one of the CDs, live in Glasgow in 1977. This one will come out later on Record Store Day. I will show you that record later in the video. I do have one single from this record. I have Do You Wanna Dance? And this is a European or a Dutch pressing of the single that came in with this this cover and 7-inch single or 45, and it's backed with It's a Long Way Back to Germany. 2 great songs from the record. And this one came in on the Philips label, again from the Netherlands, which for years I thought it was an original press or a legit release, but then I saw that it was on green vinyl, and if you go to Discogs, you will see that the color vinyl copies of this 7-inch are actually bootlegs. Road to Ruin from 1978, also on Sire Records. I also found this one at the record store several years ago, so I'm pretty sure it's either an original press or an early repress. It did come in with a really cool inner sleeve with the pictures of the band members, and this is the first record to include Marky Ramone on drums, and all the lyrics here on the other side. And there's the back, another cool picture of the Ramones. And this one came in just on standard black vinyl with the side labels. I'm not sure what this says. VPI cleaned. I think when I was listening to the Steve Carlson podcast, they talked a little bit about this cleaning technique that some record stores will clean their records with, and they will advertise about it here in the sleeves. It's actually, I forgot that they had this sign or this those words there in the sleeve. But anyways, Road to Ruin, the fourth record from the Ramones. In my opinion, this is a really, really good record. It should be considered a classic record as well. It has some of the most recognizable songs of the Ramones here, including I Wanna Be Sedated, Don't Come Close, Needles and Pins, which is a cover, of course. It's a Long Way Back, Bad Brain, which eventually would inspire the Bad Brains to come up with their band name. So yeah, classic record again, Road to Ruin. The Ramones were really on a roll with their first four records. All of them are nearly perfect. And of course, I also have the, let's see, the 40th anniversary box set that came out in 2018. This one came in on a glossy cover instead of the matte that they were doing in the first three records. And again, same thing, you know, the book style box with the 1 LP, the booklet, and the 3 CDs. And I also have a couple of singles from this record. I have Don't Come Close, which is an interesting pick for a single from this record. I don't think it's the best song in the record, but it's still not bad. I just would have picked something different than Don't Come Close. This is an original press of the single on 45. On black vinyl with the side labels. I paid $15 for this one, so for now I think it's a good price for an original press of one of the singles from Road to Ruin. And I also got an original press of Needles and Pins, which is a cover song. This one didn't come with a picture sleeve, so it's just on standard black vinyl. And you get Needles and Pins on one side and also Needles and Pins on the other side, so you get the same track on both sides. All right, the next one is technically not a Ramones album, but it is a soundtrack of the movie where the Ramones starred in, Rock and Roll High School. And this one came out in 1979 on Sire Records. Yeah, great soundtrack, and it came in on black vinyl with the Sire labels. And it does include, of course, a lot of songs from the Ramones from their first four records. It does have a really cool medley of the Ramones playing Blitzkrieg Bop, Teenage Lobotomy, California Sun, Pinhead, and She's the One. That to me is the highlight of the record on side one. And you of course get some extra tracks of other artists like Devo, Nick Lowe, Chuck Berry, Alice Cooper, among others, especially on side B of the record. Really cool soundtrack to have if you're a Ramones collector. And before releasing their next album, they came up with their first live album, It's Alive. And here's the back. This one came out also in 1979 on Sire Records. Double LP with a really cool gatefold. Awesome pictures of the band playing live. Probably the best Ramones live album. Not exactly sure if I know too much about all the Ramones live, because a lot of them are very similar, to be honest. But this is really the Ramones when they were again at the peak of their powers. Black vinyl, double LP with the Sire labels. But yeah, the label Sire, they were really trying to get them to have a big hit, to get them on the radio. So they did the movie, they did the singles, they did the live album. They were trying everything out there, including working with a superstar producer like Phil Spector. And this one came out a year after, in 1980. And this one's called End of the Century, one of the most infamous Ramones records. Infamous, I say, because it is definitely overproduced, in my opinion. But I still think it's a good album. This is an original press as well that I bought a few years ago. Comes with all the lyrics on one side. and an alternative picture of the cover here on the other side. And the record came in on just standard black vinyl with the same sire labels. But yeah, this one has Do You Remember Rock and Roll Radio? Fantastic track. Chinese Rock, The Return of Jackie and Judy, Let's Go, Baby I Love You, which was, I think, the single from this record, also a cover. And of course, Rock and Roll High School from the soundtrack of Rock and Roll High School. I wish they did a 40th anniversary box set of this one to have all the rough mixes, all the extra stuff that was recorded during this era of the Ramones. But there were some rumors going on that that one will come out a few years ago, I guess before the pandemic, but after the pandemic, I think everything shut down and they eventually didn't do it. And I also got a repress of that same record, again, end of the century from 1980, but this is a repress from, when did this one come out? I'm not sure exactly. I think it was from 2011, but I found it at the record store, brand new and sealed for a really good price. So I went ahead and picked it up. And it is on 180 gram vinyl, black vinyl, with the sire labels. There's the hype sticker that I kept. The only difference is that it's on 180 gram vinyl. I do have a couple of singles from this record. So actually just one single. Again, sorry for the sound here on this sleeves. Another single that I bought while I was in Europe. This one's called Baby I Love You, the very first single of End of the Century, backed with High Risk Insurance. I think I bought this one when I was traveling in England. Really cool find because in the back you get all the tour dates from when the Ramones played live back then in 1980, January and February. But yeah, promo 45 of Baby I Love You came in on standard black vinyl with the sire labels. All right, the next release came out a year later. It's from 1981, Pleasant Dreams. And this one also came out on Sire Records. This is a French press that I got when I was traveling in France. Again, I picked up a lot of these presses when I was traveling in Europe because, they're just easier to find over there. But it did come in with the Sire labels and black vinyl. Again, either an original press or an early repress, I really don't know. But yeah, not the most famous Ramones record for sure. I think this one got really mixed reviews when it came out, and to this day, it is not one of the most memorable Ramones records. But I still think that it has several really cool songs in here. The KKK Took My Baby Away, classic Ramones song. We Want the Airwaves, fantastic track. It's All Quiet on the Eastern Front. Don't Go is a classic and a very early pop-punk song, in my opinion, very influential to the pop-punk that will come later in the 90s. 7-Eleven, the same thing. She's a Sensation, fantastic song. Are there a few, maybe a couple of stinkers in this record? Maybe. But I still think it's a very solid record. Again, Ramones with Pleasant Dreams, and really cool to have. All right, up next, the next record was Subterranean Jungle. And this one came out in 1983, also on Sire Records. Famously, the last record with drummer Marky Ramone before he left. Eventually he will come back later for Brain Drain, but this is the last one with his original run with the Ramones. And it came in with an inner sleeve with all the lyrics, no pictures in that sleeve. Black vinyl, an original press with sire labels. Actually, I don't know if it's an original press. It might be an early repress, but it's a really, really cool early release or early pressing of the record. It looks like I found this one at the record show, the Atlanta record show, because I kept the flyer inside. Doesn't say the year though. It does say May 22nd, but it could have been from maybe. This is the old location of the record store, the record show too, so it might be from several years back, maybe 2018 or 19, not exactly sure. Anyway, Subterranean Jungle. I know years ago I made a video where I called this one my least favorite Ramones record. Now, after a few more listens, I do have to take that back because I actually don't think that this record is that bad. And I do think that there's some later releases from the Ramones that are much worse than this one's. This is actually a pretty solid record. It does have Outsider, which is a song that Green Day will cover later on in the 2000s. It has Highest Trails Above. It has Psychotherapy, one of my favorite Ramones songs. In the Park, a very catchy tune as well. Solid record from the Ramones again, Subterranean Jungle. Really cool cover in this one too. This is I guess we're starting the Richie Ramone era of the Ramones. This is when Richie joined in drums. Too Tough to Die. And this one came out in 1984, also on Sire Records. A really cool album cover there. I love that picture. A lot of people called this one the comeback record for the Ramones when this one came out, because this was actually really well received when it came out. Here's the inner sleeve with all the lyrics. Again, black vinyl, Sire labels. Great record. It has some of the classic Ramones songs like Chasing the Night, super catchy, Howling at the Moon, should have been a hit in my opinion. Endless Vacation, which was sang by Dee Dee Ramone, and a fantastic closing track, No Go. Super fantastic song, by the way, one of my favorites from this record. And I do have one single, or actually I have a couple of singles from this record. These ones are on 12-inch singles, 12-inch vinyl. This is the 12-inch of Chasing the Night and Howling at the Moon. I guess double A-sided. Very simple album artwork in this one. And actually, you get Chasing the Night and Howling at the Moon both on side A. And in side B, you get Smash You, also from Too Tough to Die, and Street Fighting Man, of course, a cover of the Rolling Stones. And this one came in on black vinyl on the Beggar's Banquet labels, which I guess they were a subsidiary of Sire Records. 12-inch vinyl, and I also got the 12-inch of another single of that record, actually the same song, Howling at the Moon, one of the songs from the ones that I showed you before, but I guess they were going with this kind of artwork for this era of the Ramones. And this one came in with the same B-side, Smash You and Street Fighting Man on side B. Again, I was going through a phase of being a Ramones completist, so I had to buy all of their singles, black vinyl, Beggar's Banquet labels. All right, the next record also with Richie on drums was Animal Boy, and this one came out in 1986, also on Sire Records. And there's the back. No insert on this one, just black vinyl with the Sire labels. But yeah, an okay record from the Ramones, definitely not my favorite, not my least favorite either. It does have some really good songs, but it has several stinkers in this one. The highlights, in my opinion, are the very opening track, a Richie Ramone track called Somebody Put Something in My Drink. Richie was a fantastic and still a really good songwriter and drummer. And you can tell because they put that's his song at the very beginning of the record. Great track. It does have Love Kills, which is sang by Dee Dee, really fun song. And it has the classic now, My Brain is Hanging Upside Down, Bonzo Goes to Bitburg. Classic Ramones track, really good. I have a couple of singles from this record. I have the 12-inch LP, 12-inch vinyl of Crummy Stuff, which is really hard to tell which one is the song, the single for in this release, because it's right here in very small font. They were going with the whole idea of the Ramones 8 or the Live 8 thing with the video for Something to Believe In, which is the B-side in this record, in this 12-inch single, Something to Believe In, and I Don't Want to Live This Life. Interesting choice for a single for this record, because I think that Crummy Stuff is actually one of the weakest songs in this record. And Animal Boy, this one came in on the Beggar's Banquet labels. I definitely think that they could have picked other songs for singles for this record. But anyways, interesting release and 12-inch vinyl. And they did release Something to Believe In in 7-inch or 45 RPM vinyl, and backed with Somebody Put Something in My Drink. All right, the next release was from 1987, and this one's called Halfway to Sanity. And this one did come in on Sire Records, but I have a Russian copy of this one, which came in on a different label. And I checked, and it is an official release, but apparently in Russia it came in on a different, or in Europe it came in a different label called Torso Records. I'll show you the labels on this one. They do look different compared to the other records. Torso Records on black vinyl. But yeah, 1987, this is also gonna be the last album that they released with Richie Ramone on drums. It came in with the inner sleeve with all the lyrics. But yeah, Halfway to Sanity, by far my least favorite Ramones record. This is, I wouldn't call it a bad album, you know, it's still the Ramones. It does have still a handful of really cool songs like I Wanna Live. It does have a really cool collaboration with Debbie Harry from Blondie with Go Little Camaro Go. Really sweet song, very poppy tune. And those are, I think, the highlights of this record. Everything else, I just think is just mediocre. For Ramones standards, it's not a great record. But still, these records have not been repressed very much out there. So it's really cool to have an original press of this one. Right, and I guess later in the 80s and the early 90s, I guess the record label side, they really gave up on the idea of the Ramones having a big hit. But the Ramones were really having a little bit of a renaissance. I think I read in one of the books about the Ramones that at some point the Ramones were selling more T-shirts than they were selling records. Because a lot of people were recognizing them from their influences, the bands that they influenced, instead of from their own records. So they put a few records just to kind of like relaunch the older material of the Ramones back in the late 80s, early 90s, including this compilation, the first greatest hits compilations from the Ramones. This one's called Ramones Mania, and it came out in 1988 on Sire Records. This is not an original press, it's a repress from the early 2000s, but I'm not exactly sure when it came out. This is also the first release of the Ramones that I bought on vinyl. When I decided I was going to start a record collection, this is one of the ones that I got because I love the Ramones. And it came on double LP, black vinyl with the Sire labels. So it has I wouldn't call it hits, I guess, but the most recognizable songs of the Ramones from the very first release all the way till Halfway to Sanity from the year before. There's the track list, and again, double LP. The most recognizable songs. It's really cool to see all the artwork here from the several records of the Ramones. Yeah, really good compilation, greatest hits compilation. And they also released, they were really pushing to have this song, I Wanna Be Sedated, back in the radio, even years after it was released. And I found a copy of this 12-inch single, radio promo 12-inch single, that came out also in 1988. Nothing here on the back, but it's definitely from the radio because you can see the labels that they added here for the radio station. So it does include I Wanna Be Sedated, of course, the what is it called? The updated sedated radio mix of the song on side 1. And on side 2, you get a really cool, kind of like a medley, they're calling it a mega mix of I Wanna Be Sedated. And Ramones on 45, that's what they call it, and also Indian Giver, the LP version of the song on side B. This one came in on just black vinyl with the Sire labels. All right, the next record was Brain Drain, and this one came out in 1989 on Chrysalis Records. This one didn't. It's the first one not to come out on Sire or Beggar's Banquet Records. And there's the back with a picture of the relaunched music video of I Wanna Be Sedated, of a clip, or I guess a picture of the recording of the music video. And there's the track list. This one didn't. It did come in with a inner sleeve, another picture from the music video recording, additional artwork, black vinyl with the Chrysalis labels. Weird to see a Ramones record without the Sire labels or the Beggar's Banquet labels. This one came in on Chrysalis. Is this a good record? I think so. I think this is a solid record from the Ramones. This is when Marky came back on drums. Richie left and Marky came back. So you see him right there in the picture of the music video. This one does have a song that I guess you could call it a minor hit. It does have Pet Sematary from the movie from Stephen King. That one was a little bit of a hit. It does have some fun songs in here. Definitely a darker themed Ramones record, like The Punishment Fits the Crime, Don't Bust My Chops, I Believe in Miracles. Really good vocal performance from Joey Ramone in this one. Interesting release again, the Ramones with Brain Drain, and that one is from 1989. The next release was a record that I was really lucky to find it on vinyl, because this one I don't think it has been repressed too many times when it was released or after it was released. But this one's called Mondo Bizarro, and this is when the band joined Radioactive Records. So this one came out on Radioactive in 1992. D.D. Ramone left the band at this point to pursue his rap music career, which wasn't very good. And they hired a young guy called C.J. Ramone, who's still active in the music world right now. And Marky's still on drums. But yeah, this is a repress that came out on Let Them Eat Vinyl. I'm not sure exactly when this one came out. 2013 is when this reissue came out. And I remember when I saw this one, probably in 2014 at the record store, they had this one and they had a repress of Adios Amigos, their very last record. I really should have bought both of them, because these are two records that have not been repressed since then. And they're probably not going to get repressed again, at least in many years, because they're not very famous Ramones records. They didn't sell that much. So they're very hard to find. I should have picked up both of them, but at that point I didn't have that much budget for records, so I ended up going with this one. Mondo Bizarro came in with custom labels, single LP on black vinyl. Really cool release. I thought this was a solid record. It has lots of really fun songs. It has especially a couple of C.J. Ramone songs in here. He contributes a couple of tracks. And it does have the bonus track of Spider-Man from the cartoon song. Really cool cover there. It does have a contribution also from Marky Ramone with his song called Anxiety, right there on side A. Poison Heart, also a minor radio hit back in the day. Really cool song. Main Man, also sang by C.J. Ramone. And Censor Shit are the highlights of this record. All right, and now we're getting to the end of the Ramones as a recording band. And this is their very last album, Adios Amigos. I only have this one on CD. Like I mentioned before, I should have picked up that version on vinyl when I had the chance, but I didn't. This is a promo copy from a radio station. And there's a picture of the band. And I really like the artwork on this one. I know that some people don't like the picture there of the dinosaurs with the sombreros. I think it's really cool, really fun. And not many people talk about this record. I think it's an excellent record. It's a great closing record for the band. It has a really cool cover of I Don't Want to Grow Up. It has The Crusher. I think it was written by D.D. Ramone. So he was not in the band, but he was still contributing as a songwriter. It has Cretin Family, Have a Nice Day, Scattergun, a great song sang by C.J. Ramone. And it does have Life's a Gas. Holy smokes, such a beautiful track sang by Joey Ramone. This is when he already was starting to get sick, so he was definitely facing his own mortality. Gorgeous, gorgeous track. Perhaps one of the best Ramone songs included in the very last album. Again, Life's a Gas. But yeah, the last studio album from the Ramones, Adios Amigos. After that, I have a couple of CDs that came out in the 90s of the Ramones playing live. I have this one. This one's called We're Outta Here. And this one came out in 1997, also on Radioactive Records. And there's the back. And this is supposed to be the very last show of the Ramones. It says the 2,265 third show, played at Billboard Live in August 6th of 1996. There's a picture of the band playing live and all the track list. Epic show. This is the one that includes a lot of artists that were influenced by the music of the Ramones, like I think Chris Cornell is there, Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam is there, the guys from Rancid, I think Lemmy of Motorhead is there. Yeah, this is a great live album. Like I mentioned before, Joey Ramone was already sick by then, but he was still playing like he was a young guy there. He was doing a great job singing the songs. Really cool live album from 1997. This one actually came out before that one. This one's called Greatest Hits Live, and it came out also on Radioactive Records in 1996. And this one's recorded live at the Academy in, of course, New York City. In the picture there of the Statue of Liberty. So this is mostly a live album, of course, Greatest Hits Live, but it does include a couple of studio tracks at the end of the record, which are Ramones, which is a cover of Motorhead, which is a song that Motorhead wrote for the Ramones. And Any Way You Want It, a great, great track to close the Greatest Hits Live record from 1997. All right, up next are some 7-inch singles that I picked up throughout the years, either on Record Store Day or reissues of the older 7-inch singles. But yeah, this one, let's start off with this one. Interesting release from Norton Records, the Ramones with I Wanna Be Your Boyfriend. It's one of their very first singles from the very first few albums. But this one is the original 1975 demo version of the same song. And it has a demo of I Wanna Be Your Boyfriend and Judy is a Punk. And this one came out in 1997, but it was reissued in 2011. This is the 2011 reissue on Norton Records. Now, I don't know the full story of this Norton reissues of the Ramones demo songs, but I know that a lot of them were not released in the boxes that I showed you before. So somehow they must have ended up with the rights for some of those demo tracks from 1975. And this is a Record Store Day release from 2016, also on Norton Records. Judy is a Punk. This is also the Lost 1975 demo version, so they're calling it the Lost Demos. So I'm not sure if Norton Records, maybe they found these demos and they're claiming to be the owners of these releases, so they released those ones. But I know for a fact that the Judy is a Punk demo included here are not included in, they were not included in the box set that came out for the 40th anniversary of the self-titled record. Really cool vinyl on this one for Record Store Day. Kind of like a marbled red vinyl with the Norton labels. So you get Judy is a Punk on both sides, but there are different demos of the same song on each of the sides. So really interesting release. And again, this one came out for Record Store Day back in 2016. And I also have to show you this one right here. It's a fun release, I guess. This one is the single for Carbona Not Glue, backed with I Can't Be. This is, when I saw this at the record store, I was like, what the hell is this? This is on Sub Pop Records. It's the Sub Pop release out logo up there. It does have the lyrics in there. And they went all out on this release. It comes with color vinyl, yellow vinyl, a little bit splatter, I guess, or marbled black and yellow. Nothing here on the labels, which gave me a thought that this may be a bootleg. It came in with a really cool comic strip of a couple that the wife just decides to start listening to the Ramones instead of all that sub pop noise. Really fun comic strip, and then the lyrics. And it also came in with a sticker, which I haven't used yet, from the Rocket to Russia era. So of course this single is all over the place, you know. It is a bootleg, but it is a very well-made bootleg, and I didn't pay too much for it. I think I paid like, I paid $12 for this one. And at the point I didn't know if it was a bootleg or not. So it's a really fun release. I think it was very limited as well. I think Discogs has it at 500 copies. But yeah, the Ramones were not officially on Sub Pop. And this last 7-inch is also from Record Store Day. I'm not sure exactly when this one came out. I wonder if I have it in here. Probably 2017 or 18. I didn't write it down. But this is a side-by-side thing where they released it with a question mark with nothing in the cover. So it was almost like a surprise release. So if you bought it at the point where when it came out, you didn't know what was inside. It was a Record Store Day release. And it is the Ramones with Sheena is a Punk Rocker live from Sire Records on one side. And Husker Du playing the same song, also live, a cover song of the Ramones with the split vinyl. Really cool release. I wish they still did more of this side-by-side surprise, or I think what they call this is the mystery side-by-side 7 inches from Record Store Day, but I haven't seen them doing that in the last few years, but I could be wrong about that. And I thought I was showing you the last of the 7 inches, but I forgot to show you this one. This one's the big one, the Ramones singles box, and includes 10 7-inch singles or 45s from the first, I think, 6 Ramones albums. And this one came out for Record Store Day in 2017 on Sire Records. Epic box there. I think I've shown this one. I made a full video about this box in the past in my channel, so check that one out in case you're curious about this. But this opens like this, and you get all the 10 singles from Blitzkrieg Bop all the way to I Wanna Be Sedated, the mono mix in Rock and Roll High School. Really cool box set. Reissues of the first singles, and it does come in with a little insert with all the descriptions of the releases, the singles, the artwork for the original. There's some that came in without the picture sleeves. But yeah, I'm not going to show you all of them because I do have a separate video that has all of them, that shows all the details. And let me show you one with the actual picture sleeve there. And I believe all of them are on black vinyl too. Just original, or I guess reproductions of the original ones. Now, I do have a little bit of a love and hate relationship with this kind of box set represses or reissues of the singles, because I do like to have all the singles from the Ramones, and this is a nice way to have them. But part of the fun of collecting singles is finding the original ones, because 45s are rarely repressed. So at least to me, the fun part of collecting the singles is going out there to a record store and finding one, and sometimes even in bad condition. You know, sometimes you may be missing the album jacket, or maybe in really bad condition, and maybe has a few scratches in there. But that's part of the fun to me, to find those original ones, and to have all of them in brand new, perfect condition. You know, no scratches, nothing here in the artwork. It looks too perfect. It's almost like it feels like I'm cheating by buying one of these ones. But either way, I bought it in Record Store Day that year, and I'm still glad I got them because I do now own all of those singles from back in the day. And it is also limited to, I think they made 10,000 copies, or maybe less than that. I don't remember, maybe fewer than those. But I got limited edition copy number 3,844. All right, some more Record Store Day stuff that came out throughout the years. This is Live at the Roxy from 1976. Legendary performance on LP for the very first time. So if you remember when I showed you the box set of the self-titled debut album, one of the CDs was this live performance. And I believe that the CD includes 2 live performances because they played twice the same day for this show at the Roxy. And the CD includes both sets, the one that they did, I guess, in the afternoon, and the one that they did at night. This one only includes one of them, but honestly, both of them are very, very similar. Another Record Store Day release. This is they're calling this the Sun Dragon Sessions Record Store Day release. This one came in 2018 Record Store Day, also on Sire Records. These are rough mixes for Leave Home, the Leave Home record. I have opened this one. Also included in the Leave Home 40th anniversary box set, but I still listen to this one on vinyl because I always want to hear if there's any difference in these studio recordings in the vinyl version versus the CD. Die cut here in the center with the Ramones logo there in the middle, black vinyl. Really cool release because you get to hear some alternative versions of the same songs from the now classic Ramones records. And some of them are quite different compared to the original mixes of the record. All right, up next, live in Glasgow in Scotland. Also released previously on CD in the box set for, obviously, Rocket to Russia, based on the album cover there. And this one was recorded in 1977. There's the back. I have not opened this one, keeping this one sealed also for now. Eventually I might open it and listen to it on vinyl, but I do have the CD copy from the box if I want to listen to it. And this one came out in Record Store Day 2018. Another live album, and this one's called Live at the Palladium in New York, New York. Recorded in 1979 on New Year's Eve. And this one came out also on Record Store Day 2019, also keeping it sealed because I have the copy or the version of it on CD from the box set that came out on Road to Ruin, the Road to Ruin box set. So you get some songs here from the Road to Ruin era, but you have double LP of the live performance from New York City. And, oh, I forgot to show you this one. Interesting release also from Record Store Day. Not a live album, but it's a studio, I guess a demo album of Pleasant Dreams with an alternate album cover, which I think is a superior album cover compared to the original one of Pleasant Dreams. And this one came out last year in Record Store Day 2023 on Sire Records. So this has a little bit of rougher mixes of the Pleasant Dreams record. Really cool picture there of the guys. So again, a record that was not talked about very much in the past, not the most famous Ramones record. So it's really cool to hear the alternate mixes of Pleasant Dreams. This one on very bright, almost neon yellow vinyl with the Sire labels. But yeah, again, really interesting to hear some alternate mixes of Pleasant Dreams because they're probably not gonna do a 40th anniversary box set, a full box set of the Pleasant Dreams record. Again, this is the 1975 Sire demos, and that came out just a couple of weeks ago on Record Store Day 2024, and it's celebrating 50 years of the Ramones forming in 1974. So 50 years of the Ramones. I just showed you this one in my last video, so I won't go into detail, but it has some of the demos that you can also find in the box set of the debut album that came out in 2016. And just beautiful color vinyl on this one. Splatter, clear, and black vinyl. Great looking record. But anyways, that's all I have officially from the Ramones themselves. I do have some other records of Joey Ramone, CJ Ramone, Marky Ramone, Dee Ramone, either on CD or on vinyl. But I'm gonna have to show you those ones on a separate video, I guess, because this video is gonna be already way too long. Stuff that I'm missing. Of course, I'm missing 2 records, or regular versions of the records of the debut self-titled album, and I'm missing the vinyl version of Adios Amigos, the very last record, and I'm also missing the covers album. I don't even have that one on CD. That is called Acid Eaters. I'm really looking for those ones, but again, nowadays I think those Ramones records, especially the ones that came out later in their careers, are really hard to find because they're not being repressed. But anyways, those are the stuff that I'm missing and that I'm actively still looking for them out there in the wild. But anyways, that's all my collection. That's my Ramones collection. Again, let me know or make a video of your collection in the Ramones. I encourage everybody out there to make a video. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye-bye.